What's up? It's Marco, Sage of Soccer. Today I want to talk about Sergiño Dest and his future, because at the moment it looks like he's going to be leaving Barcelona. He seems to have fallen out with his new manager, Xavi, the Barcelona legend, and while usually under a new manager there is time to impress him and you should stick around, it really does not look like he's in Xavi's plans. He already brought in Dani Alves, and Dest seems to be on his way out. So with that, even though I'm usually in favor of someone like Pulisic, it wasn't going the greatest at Chelsea, I still think he should stay. But this situation, he does have to leave, in my opinion. So right now, who's interested in him? You have clubs like Bayern, Arsenal, and Chelsea who seem to be the main clubs interested in him. And I want to talk about his future. You have to look at both short-term and long-term success. But looking at long-term, I do believe Bayern Munich is the best option. They have shown interest in him for a long time, meaning that even though he does have his own faults, Bayern do know about them, and they're willing to work around them. Like his defensive issues, that can be covered for. His attacking ability is so great that they're willing to look past that. And playing time, in the long term, I like it. Pavard is not a natural right back. Sula is not too comfortable there. Kimmich is better in the midfield. Sarr is not going to be a long-term option for Bayern Munich. So I really see that fitting for him, and as opposed to Chelsea, who have Reece James, Arsenal, who have been liking the look of Tomiyasu, who they recently signed. So I feel like in the long term, Bayern is probably the best option. But we can't just look at long term, because the future is important, but this is a World Cup year right now, and playing time right now is important, and I'm not too sure about how Dest does if he just slots into that Bayern team right now. Because I said Pavard's not a natural right back, Kimmich isn't the best there, but they are still elite players. And I'm not too sure if Dest can just walk into that team without a preseason, without a break, and just get into that extremely strong team. His defensive issues are still a problem, and you do have to keep that in mind because, as I said before, Pavard is amazing. Joshua Kimmich is basically Sergio Roberto on steroids, and he had a lot of trouble getting Sergio Roberto out of that Barcelona team. So, in the long term, I really like Bayern Munich, but short term, I'm not too sold on them. For Arsenal, I'm not really too sure about them because, as I mentioned, they seem to like the looks of Tomiyasu. I think they're just being linked with him because they've been linked with him before. I don't see that move actually happening, and I feel like it would be a pretty bad idea to move to Arsenal. Chelsea, on the other hand, is probably the worst move in the long term, but in the short term, I feel like it may be the best. Currently, Reece James is out for 2 months, and Ben Chilwell's out for at least the rest of the season. Sergiño Dest can play on both sides of the defense. That's a big selling point for him, and I do believe he could do well at left back for Chelsea. Marcos Alonso is their current starter, and I feel like Dest could beat him out. They have they're similar players and very good going forward, not the strongest defensively, but I do believe Dest has the ability to take Alonso out of that team. And then there's the issue that he's not really at his strongest position, but at the same time, he could get that right wing back spot down. James is out for a good period of time, I believe 2 months. And if Dest is in form when he comes back, even if they want to keep Reece James in the team, he's been very good at playing that right-sided center back role. So it's not to say that if Dest joins that team, when Reece James comes back, Dest could still be playing in that right wing back spot. So, and with the World Cup qualifying coming up and the World Cup itself coming soon, I feel like short-term playing time is something that has to be looked at. And even if he does end up playing left wing back, João Cancelo at Man City is a good example of being able to play that well, even though you're technically out of position. It would be funny if we played Dest at left wing back and Pulisic at right wing back for Chelsea, but man, I do believe that's a move that can work in the short term. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Long term, Bayern Munich would definitely be a good option because they seem to have interest in him and they seem to want him in their side. But in the short term, I do believe that Chelsea would be a good move for him. Maybe it's a loan to Chelsea, something else could happen over the summer. But hey, that's just my thoughts on it. Really looking forward to seeing Dest play a bit. And yeah, that's all I'll talk about. See you.